A few days after Hurricane Katrina obliterated the Gulf Coast, Comrade Johnny Stevens and I traveled to Louisiana in an IAC solidarity trip. We delivered a modest amount of aid and carried out other work as needed. This was one of those developments that made me so glad to be in the party, to have a revolutionary class perspective, a Marxist understanding, in order to explain such devastation and such racism. It was a staggering situation that demonstrates the importance of why we have to struggle to put the final nail in the coffin of capitalism. There is no other more urgent task. One of the interactions of the many that we had on this trip is one I will take to my deathbed. As we fill the car with gas at a truck stop on the road between Houston and New Orleans, we hung out talking with the many refugees forced to amass there. This one Latino brother who spoke Spanish came up to us very animated. As he repeatedly pointed to both of us, he asked me to tell Johnny the following: they want to get rid of people like us. The government wants to kill off black and brown people. Now, what other conclusion could he possibly draw in the face of what the world saw in August of 2005? Back then, like now, the capitalist class aims to take advantage of hurricane devastation to obliterate the remaining affordable housing projects, to disperse the black community as well as the sick and the poor, to get them out of sight, unable to organize or unite. How more devious can the ruling class get than to take advantage of such catastrophes for gentrification and racist displacement? Once again, the capitalist class is carrying out policies that will most affect workers of color. Mass incarcerations and mass deportations. There is a vicious racist war of terror unleashed against the oppressed here and around the world. But all workers are in jeopardy. When you can participate in solidarity actions for the workers of Europe, when you can consider sending a solidarity delegation to Greece or Spain, you know the shit has hit the fan. The capitalist crisis that for decades wrecked the lands of Asia, the Americas, and Africa has come to the shores of the imperialist world. Nothing in place to guard you or protect you from yet another hurricane or raging fire or pounding tornadoes or a devastating drought. But a family, too, of every nationality that does not have adequate income or health care could also lose a child from an abscessed tooth. Here in the richest country of the world, a child could die from a toothache. This is what capitalism at a dead end means, as we have talked and written about so well. The intolerable conditions that capitalism has as its last breath has created desperate conditions for billions around the world and here. But we are a revolutionary party, a socialist organization that aspires to create communism right here in the United States, where the ultimate end for capitalism will occur. We have a unique and profound task to put the final nail on the capitalism's coffin. Our party leadership maintains that at this moment, the conditions created by this period of capitalism lay the basis for a movement of people's power. Not all the I's have been dotted, not all the T's have been crossed. This is a work and thought in progress. But to build, expand, and multiply the People's Power Assembly movement, in that we are clear. We argue that a massive movement of people's assemblies can and must happen. We are not the only ones. Others have made this call as well, here and abroad. In addition, This idea was raised by a party before, in 1992, when we united activists in Baltimore and called there for dual power. The experience is under our belt, part of our history. We said in 1992 that the workers and the progressives and more are more and more breaking from the system, yearning to take community control, want to talk about a transfer of power, and breaking with the system. And these conditions are even more ripe today. The misery and devastation brought on by hurricanes and disasters alone have created the opportunity for the building of people's power assemblies. This is what is behind the relief efforts by organizations such as CAB and Occupy Sandy, the People's Power Movement, or the People's Survival Program, which is composed of former Black Panther Party members. More and more activists have broken from the Democratic Party, more and more consciousness among the masses against capitalism. Our goal is to work with them all, with the politicals, the activists, with those in the struggle for those in the struggle for 1 month, 1 decade, or 1 lifetime to build this movement for a PPA. That is the aim of the December 15th meeting in Baltimore, and we urge you all to be there. To add to the discussion of building people's power, uniting and connecting all the struggles, and taking this struggle not just to every neighborhood in every city, but to Washington when we are ready, to march and protest and occupy if we have to until the needs of the people are met. I think that I would be remiss if I did not raise an aspect of our work as we embark on the road to build the PPA. To prepare for the upcoming period, which is sure to be a glorious wave of struggle, nothing is more urgent, comrades and friends, than to build the party. Nothing is more urgent than recruiting. Nothing is more urgent than to strengthen ourselves in every single way. Whether it is raising urgently needed money or revitalizing internal committees, we must do it now. It is in this context that I raise some ideas for a component of the work within the PPA. We know that the workers have been in a defensive mood. When you consider the monstrous attacks, the response from the masses do not necessarily measure up to the gravity of the assault. But we have Wisconsin, we have the immigrant upsurge, we have Chicago, the teachers and Republican windows, we have Occupy, we have huge meetings on mass incarceration, we have a victory at Hot and Crusty, at one of the biggest multinational corporations ever, Walmart. Workers are organizing for the first time. This is huge. This is huge. So we should all go support the Walmart workers on so-called Black Friday and join in the movement there and kick some butt at Walmart. These signs of struggle lay the basis for taking a component of the PPA and for the party to orient to the working class like never before. I argue that a component of the PPA be used as a vehicle for the party to deepen its roots among the working class. Work with the politicals, build coalitions, but bring workers into the class struggle and eventually into the party. The comrades in the branches are probably going, duh, Teresa. This sounds obvious to the branches that are already doing this important work. But I do feel compelled to give a major shout out to the Baltimore branch, who are on the ground, taking on the responsibility. And make no mistake, it is a heavy one to defend the oppressed from police brutality. This is not an assignment revolutionaries take lightly. And of course, all our branches are exemplary on their work, just holding up the banner of the party year after year after year. But the party as a whole must establish and carry out a party-wide campaign to deepen our roots among the working class. This is a time for boldness, for confidence, when revolutionary communists and socialists should take the bull by the horn and not only link up and hook up with all those disaffected with the capitalist system, but to bring them into the working class struggle. This is a time to examine the work of the 30s, when communists played a major role in every single struggle, whether it was for food, for jobs, or a signal light at the corner. In Washington or in the neighborhoods, they were the boldest and fiercest fighters. This is the opportunity that Hurricane Sandy has presented to us right here in the belly of the beast, right at Wall Street's doorstep. The contradictions of capitalism have been exposed for all to see in Red Hook, in New Jersey, and so forth. We must take this further, not just because we want to build a struggle, not just because we want to recruit to our party, not just because our class is devastated. It is important that we get shoulder to shoulder on the ground in the trenches, because we must help give the movement a class perspective. If we don't, our class will not go further and might even suffer setbacks. In one of the recent articles after the bourgeois elections, Move On was quoted in the Times as saying something about getting to the streets to hold politicians accountable. We should send a message to Move On. Move on. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Those streets are ours, and the time is over for reforms or Band-Aids. Hurricane Sandy and climate change as a whole demonstrate vividly the need for struggle with a revolutionary class perspective. People's Power Assemblies should participate in everything from organizing soup kitchens to rebuilding homes. But the government and Wall Street have billions of money and resources, booty that was stolen from us, from the blood and sweat of our class, and we want it back. We need and demand a national jobs program that can only be carried out by the government. We know we can't depend on the capitalist government nor their parties, but until workers have seized the means of production and built a workers' government, we must fight to wrest every single damn concession we can. In the process of this fight, in the process of mounting a massive fight back, we can and must recruit to our party. This is urgent. We must do it now. To be prepared for the period ahead, to be ready for the coming upsurge, we must recruit to the party. We must do it now. I want to end with an emulation, a call for revolutionary socialist competition with our Filipino comrades, a challenge to our party to emulate our Filipino comrades. In the wake of Hurricane Sandy, they created Operation Kaligtasan, Operation Safety, a relief effort. Filipino cadre have gone out and canvassed door to door in Brighton Beach, where there is a high concentration of Filipinos affected by Sandy. They report that there are about 1,500 Filipinos living in Brighton Beach. Now, I know my Filipino comrades. I know damn well they will not just be bringing water or helping to repair homes. They will do that, of course. But they will also be looking and listening and watching. They will be talking and interacting, and they will identify from those 1,500 people workers who are ready, who are thinking, who are politicized from this tragedy, who are angry and fed up and want to take that anger and channel it to class war. From those 1,500 people, I guarantee you, they will recruit one or several to the struggle. I promise you they've already made a chart and a PowerPoint presentation. In a way, our Filipino comrades have organizing a bit simpler. They can concentrate and focus on one community, so to speak. Our community is many nationalities, many generations, many experiences. But our party must rise to the occasion. We have to emulate our Filipino comrades, and we must be like that now. We must take the rising waters of Hurricane Sandy that washed out much of Wall Street and turn those waters into the rising rage of the workers and oppressed that will destroy Wall Street once and for all. When that movement is successful, it will build socialism in the United States of America. We must do it now. On to building people's power assemblies, reparations for the victims of Hurricane Sandy, Katrina, and all disasters, down with the capitalist system, on to the rising tide of socialism, on to building Workers' World Party. Do it now.